Hi my lovelies, today I am filming a special video that is just for you. It is not going up on YouTube. Originally it was going to be one of the witches from the Cauldron videos. However, this subject's now come up a lot in the group, and we've been doing a lot of work with crystals lately. We had our crystals treasure sale and a lot of you bought treasures there. That could help you with this process. So I thought it would be really nice just to have something in our little container that we've got that's just for us, and that we could do a little bit of work together and also talk about a few things that are coming up and things that won't be shared outside of this group. So today we're going to be talking about grounding. We're also going to be going over a couple actually of my favourite methods of grounding and talk through it. There seems to be quite a bit of confusion, and I think that's because there's a lot of different terms around grounding these days as well. There's different words for it depending on if you're coming from a pagan perspective, if you're coming from a new age perspective, if you're coming from a mental health perspective, because psychologists are even using methods of grounding now with their clients. So it's kind of spread all over the place and can be really like, you know what I mean? Excuse the bubble wrap and any other disorganisation you see behind you. I'm on the final stretch with the crystal treasures, and I have the courier coming to pick up those of you that had to have courier boxes tomorrow. So those last crystals are getting ready to be packed, and I'm also photographing the crystal treasures that are still looking for new homes, and they will be on the website very soon. I'll let you know when. So there's a little bit of disarrayment going on around me. But that does not stop us from discussing grounding. So, it's a bit warm in here. I think I'm going to take this off. Do excuse me as I strip off on camera, but never mind. Alright, that's a bit more comfortable. Let's check nothing's popping out anywhere, because we don't need that happening. This is not that kind of video. So, grounding. Very, very important process. Everybody needs to be grounding. Now, something that is always asked is how often should you be grounding with whatever grounding practice you choose to do. Now, this really is dependent upon you, okay? Now, symptoms of grounding, well, symptoms of being ungrounded, I should say, can be confusing unto themselves because often they can be similar to medical conditions. So if you have any of these symptoms, it's very important to go to the doctor first and check there's nothing medically wrong. Then you can start wheedling out spiritual reasons for things to be happening and look at the broader holistic picture. So symptoms that you are ungrounded: scattered thinking, not being able to concentrate on one task for very long, finding yourself overly stressed and overly anxious about things that are seemingly minor and you know you shouldn't be worrying or stressing about, lightheadedness and dizziness, which is why we say go to the doctors if you're having any of these kind of symptoms. Feeling generally like you can't relax to go to sleep and not getting good sleep at night. These are all symptoms that you may be ungrounded, that you're not centered enough. Most of it is around the mind, so being very scatterbrained, not being able to remember things, not being able to put your thoughts together in the way you want, or to necessarily deal with situations as they come up in the way you know you are capable of doing. So if you're having any of those symptoms and they're not medical related, then there's a very good chance you're ungrounded. Now, what makes you ungrounded, again, is hugely vast, but we can narrow it down together, and it is different for different people. So general reasons that you may be ungrounded is you have no grounding practice. So if you're not grounded, you've never grounded before, chances are you're going to be some level of ungrounded. If you work with crystals, a lot. If you do ritual work and meditation work and journey work, and you do not have a grounding practice, then chances are you are ungrounded, because it's as part of the protocol for those things. Grounding yourself at the end is very important. If we do a deep journey or a deep meditation, you are deliberately ungrounding yourself in a sense, because you want to go to a different level of consciousness, okay? So when you come back and you settle back into your body and your being as you are, you need to ground that energy. You've worked with a lot of energy, a lot of different vibrations. You need to take all that energy, you need to ground it out, and you need to re-stabilize your body and your mind. The same with ritual. When we're in circle and we're in a container, when we're working with gemstones, gemstones are high vibrational beings. They are a much higher frequency than you and I, and they hold that frequency. Unlike you and I, we can raise our vibration, then it gets affected by what's around us, and it can go up and down and up and down and up and down, which is why we battle constantly to bring our vibration up. Crystals are always up there in vibration. So if you are carrying them with you daily, if you are giving yourself crystal healing treatments at home, if you're working with gem essences and waters, I will have a video on that for YouTube. All of these things, because you are using such a high vibration, and that in turn is raising your vibration, that can unstabilize you if you're not coming from a grounded, balanced place. So all of this in general, on top of the fact that we live lives where there is constant stress, where we're running from one place to the other, where there's turbulence, where our emotions can be all over the place, pretty much you can think of it, it's gonna unground you. So you need to have some kind of grounding practice. It doesn't need to be some massively long thing that's gonna take you an hour a day. In fact, it's best it does not do that. But you do need to have one. Now, how often depends on how much of this other stuff you're doing and how well you hold on to being grounded once you have grounded yourself. This again varies. It would be really helpful for you if you could go on to, if you don't already, go onto the internet, go onto Google and get a free natal chart and find out your sun, moon and rising signs if you don't know already, okay? Then find out the elements dictated by those signs. Now, if your signs, say you have 3 signs that are all earth signs, you, when you ground, are going to naturally be able to hold on to that grounding energy a lot better than someone else who is all air. I, for example, am sun, moon, rising, air. So I, a lot of the time, can be very like float off. That's why I find it very easy to drop into journey work. It's why I find it easier to channel and to connect in, because I do have so much air. So naturally up here, the chakras up here are more open for me, and it's something I can access more easily and have to work harder therefore with my root chakra. So that aspect of yourself is something that would be really good for you to look into and educate yourself around. We can have discussion on that in the group if you would like. I could do some videos on that. We can have some discussions, discuss with each other what your sun, moon, rising is. You know, it's a safe place to talk about all of that. But your signs do have a big influence on how well you are naturally grounded and how well you will naturally hold on to being grounded. So that's definitely something that comes into play there, and you need to be more mindful of. If you're all air, if you're all fire, you know, if you have a really nice even mix, then you're going to be more balanced and you're going to hold on to that groundedness easier than someone like myself who has 3 lots of air. If you have all earth 3 earth signs as your sun, moon, rising, you're going to find it so easy to ground that you could be too grounded. So you are not necessarily going to want to ground as much as someone like myself, and you would have more trouble on a general scale with journey work, with channeling, with connecting to guides. That could be more of a challenge for you and something you have to work at. So a lot comes into play. Now, once you've figured all that out and you kind of, you know, you can figure it all out, you can look at it, but until you start doing it, you're not going to know. So you need to start grounding to see how much these aspects affect you. I'm giving you those aspects and that information so that if you start grounding and you're like, okay, I grounded this morning and by this evening I'm feeling like it's off kilter again, what's going on? You can look at those other aspects. What kind of stress levels do you have in your life? What kind of energy do you have going on astrologically and elementally in your natal chart? And all of these things can come together to help you build a cohesive picture of you, because you are going to be different than me. So the crux of the matter is get grounding. There are some really easy ways to do it. There are some slightly more complicated ways to do it. The easiest way of all is to go outside barefoot and walk around on the grass. Now, you can't walk around on the grass for like 5 seconds and you're done. It does not work like that. It's become quite new agey to take your shoes off for a moment and just stand for a few seconds on the grass and woo, you're grounded. That's not going to help you. If it does, it's going to be literally for a few minutes. You need to go and walk on the ground barefoot for at least 5 minutes, ideally 10 to 15, and you want to be doing that with mindful practice. Now, when we say mindful practice, that simply means that you're tuning in to yourself and your feet, the sensation of your feet on the grass or the earth or whatever surface it is you are walking on, and you're being mindful about that. So you're not walking around in your garden, for example, on the grass thinking, I need to get carrots down at the supermarket, I need to go and get a chicken down at the supermarket, I mustn't forget milk, maybe tomorrow we'll have some pancakes, I don't know, what do the kids need for dinner tomorrow? That is going to completely, regardless of you being barefoot, regardless of you being on the earth, that is not going to achieve the results you want. So you do need to be mindful and tune in and allow your energy to merge with the earth's energy, and you will feel it start to stabilize you. Now, you can take that practice up to the next level. So the next level would be standing, doing your walking, then coming to a place where you can stand. If you're in public, you want to find somewhere maybe where you're not going to be stared at, unless that doesn't bother you, doesn't particularly bother me, or use your garden. Stand barefoot, close your eyes, and then really feel the earth. I mean, you want to literally close off all of your brain activity as much as you humanly can, and you want to smell what's around you. You want to try and smell the grass and smell the earth. You want to really tune into the sensation that is your feet on that ground. You want to try and tune into that energy that is coming into contact with your feet and coming into your body. What does that energy flow feel like? Okay? And that's a much stronger way to ground and connect in. Now, the benefit of doing that method is while you're doing it, you can also have an energy exchange with the earth. Now, we're going to talk about that in other methods because it's not the only way, but it's a really good way to have an energy, words, Claire, energy exchange between you and the earth that is conscious, that is controlled. So while you're standing there, you have connected in with all your senses, eyes ideally closed because you want to shut off that sense and go with feeling like touch and smell. And then you can choose to take a huge deep breath in and send anything that you no longer want to hold down into the earth, and ask that Gaia transforms that into white usable light. And then you want to breathe in. Now, how you see her energy is going to be unique to you. You may see her energy as brown, green, white. A colour will naturally come to you as how you feel that energy kind of exchange happening. Like for some people, they'll see what they're letting go of as red energy. They'll see that go into the earth and then change to white energy. Then they'll take a deep breath in and they'll call in the energy they want from the earth. So healing and stability and strength. And you can call that energy in, have it come up through your feet, up until it is completely all over you inside, just like all through your energy field, inside, outside, all through your energy centers. You want completely covered in that energy. And you can do as many of these inhales and exhales as you feel called to do. So that's a nice outside one. Now that's not practical for everyone. Not everyone has a garden. Not everyone has a local space that they would feel comfortable enough taking their shoes off in, where dogs have not been pooping. You do not want a dog poop experience. A friend of mine, she thought, you know, it'd be a great idea. She didn't have a garden. She thought she'd go down to the little like green area that was like down the bottom of the road from where she lived, take her shoes off, do her grounding. So off she went, and she'd been on the phone saying, oh, I'm going to do my ground, walking down there now, it's going to be so fabulous, blah, 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 blah. So then I get a very distressed phone call. Literally, it must have been about like 10 minutes after, off the phone. And she has stepped barefoot into a dog poop. She was highly alarmed, as I would be, because like, I mean, I grew up with dogs, so I'm no stranger to dog poop. And I have trodden in dog poop in my time, but it's that dog poop with no shoes or socks or anything, like bare feet dog poop. And that for her was like, really put her off ever doing that method again. So I shouldn't really laugh. She was very traumatized by it, but we do laugh about it now. But you know, these things can happen. So if that's not for you, and you can't go to a space like that, or you have health problems and it's not easy for you to access outside without someone accompanying you, or you just don't feel well enough, you don't want your grounding practice to be interrupted simply because you cannot go into a garden, or you cannot go to a local park or somewhere that you can actually do that exercise. So this is where crystals come in. Now, there's a lot of different crystals you can use during your grounding practice, and the reason you don't have to use them for the practices I'm about to tell you, but the reason I say incorporate crystals is because they're your connection to the outside. You're stuck indoors doing grounding, and you may be on like the second floor or the fourth floor, so you're not on the ground. Even though you're in your house, you might be on an upper level. So you want to bring some of that in. So different crystals ground in different ways. So that may like inform your choice as to what you're going to go with, depending on your energy, how you feel, and what kind of grounding you're wanting. So some gentle grounding stones are petrified wood. This is actually a really good gemstone to use for grounding. You can use a chunk like this. You can use a sphere, a wand. Fabulous, absolutely fabulous for doing your grounding work because it's very easy to hold. You can use tumble stones. I actually do have petrified wood tumble stones. They are not on the website yet. I will be sure to put them on there before this video goes up in case you do not have petrified wood and you are drawn to it. I think I have petrified wood wand as well. I'll check that out and make sure that's on there if that's the case, just so that if you don't have these tools, you have a way to get them, but I'm sure many of you already have these tools. So petrified wood is obviously one of the most gentlest, and it was once wood that has been petrified, and all the organic materials within it have been replaced with quartz. So it's a great magnifier as well, and it holds ancient wisdom and ancient connection to the earth, because we are talking millions and billions of years when it comes to petrified wood. This is not something that's created in 100 years or 1,000 years. This is ancient stuff. So petrified wood is a really, really good one to use. I don't know why I'm saying that. Well, I was going to say that, but that was the wrong crystal. Black tourmaline. Black tourmaline, as you know, a huge favourite of mine. That's what I call an in-the-middle grounding gemstone. It's not super gentle, it's not super harsh, it's just really good for grounding you, and it is particularly protective as well. So if you feel unsafe, and that's something that's been bothering you, either in your environment, you're dealing with people that make you feel unsafe, then black tourmaline has that extra added protection energies and helps you work with the earth's protection energies on a deeper level. So that's when you choose black tourmaline. Almandine garnet. Garnet is I would say, an in the middle grounding stone. Some people it works really, really great for, and some people prefer something to add in a little bit extra if you're really airy fairy. I have so much air that I will work with almandine garnet and I absolutely love it, but I have to have a piece for both hands, or my really large chunky one, which I showed in my YouTube video of some of my crystals. So I have a larger piece, or one in each hand works really, really well for grounding. My petrified wood decided to leave for a moment. I have no idea what's going on today. I think it's like the full moon energy is coming up, and I have been given some, like, a lot of information recently through channeling on work for myself and work for you guys through the website, and been really like channeling a lot and making a lot of notes. So I am having to work extra myself on grounding because I'm a bit discombobulated, which for me manifests as klutziness, hence the dropping things and forgetting words, although let's face it, I do that anyway. You've seen my videos. I don't edit it out. What's the point? You can just have a laugh at my expense. It's all good with me. If it makes you laugh, then we don't need to worry about it. But anyway, back to the actual what we're talking about. The next on the list is hematite. Now, this is a much harsher grounding gemstone. You can work with hematite as a tumble stone, as a larger piece, rough, polished. With all of these stones, you can work with them in any of their forms, but I would caution you with hematite if you are not used to grounding. It wouldn't be the first gemstone I would recommend to someone new to this process, because it's one of those gemstones that before you've even started your grounding practice, you take the hematite, and the instant you set the intention to ground, it's like bang, down to earth you go, which can be in itself discombobulating if you have just come out of journey work. If you are really, really scattered, you kind of want to come gently down and be earthed. You don't want that massive, you know, shove. But if you have tried all grounding methods and you find it very difficult to ground, you don't hold a grounding very long. If you are someone who has tried all the other crystals, tried all the methods, and you're still like, I ground, and by later that day I'm still not right, then hematite would be one to carry with you as a tumble or to wear to help keep you grounded. But be aware to take it off or to remove it from your person if you're going to do meditation, journey work, or ritual, anything like that. Even down to yoga and other spiritual type practices, you'll want to remove your hematite first before going in and doing that. So that's a few grounding gemstones that you can work with. Now, how to work with them? Obviously, you can carry them with you. Now, I recommend that as your second part of the grounding. So you need to do the physical grounding, which you can use the gemstones for. And then afterwards, you can carry the stone with you. Like I say, gemstone, tumblestone form. You can, if you have a wand, you can sit with that later in the day to bring in that bit more energy. You can wear the stone, but you do need to do an actual process, not just pick up a piece of petrified wood, because while it will start to bring you down, it's such a slow and gradual process that you're not going to feel the same benefits. It's not going to properly stabilize and balance you. So for this exercise, which will be an indoor exercise, you can be sitting or standing, not laying down, and you must have bare feet. So that means no socks, even if it's cold in the winter, no socks. So completely bare feet, and you want both feet on the ground. So like now I'm sitting cross legs, which is very bad. You should not sit cross legs because it blocks your energy centers. And especially as women, over the years, we've just naturally developed this sitting cross-legged. I don't know if it's something to do with, like, I don't know, I think years ago it was seen as like quite ladylike or whatever, or to cross your feet at the ankles and stuff like this. Undo that. You want to not do that. Keep them uncrossed, feet on the ground, either sitting like this, like I am now, my feet are firmly on the ground, I have no socks or anything on, or you can stand up. Then you want to take your crystal. If you're working with a crystal, you don't have to, but it's just an additional tool that is really good to enhance your practice. And you can hold it in your hand if you have one piece, two hands otherwise. If you want, you can actually grid around yourself. So if you're in a chair like I am, or you're standing, you could put, for example, a piece of petrified wood in the north, a piece of petrified wood in the south behind you, and you could have a piece of black tourmaline in the north and in the directions, in the east and the west. So you can complicate that as much as you want. You could do larger grids if you want, and basically you're the generator, so you do not need a generator to grid yourself for grounding. You are the generator in the center, but you can simply hold it. Then what you want to do, and we can do this together now if you want, so sit comfortably everyone, take your socks off, get your feet out. Even if you don't like your feet, get them out firmly on the ground. Does not matter what floor of your house you're on, doesn't matter if you're on carpet, doesn't matter if you're on wood, doesn't matter if you're on tile, does not matter whatsoever. You can be in light, you can be in dark. You do not have to cast circle for this. If you have a crystal near you, grab it, but you don't need one. So what you want to do is, I'm going to move back a little bit. I seem to move to the side, I don't know about back. But anyway, so with your hands, if you are holding a crystal of any type, you want both your hands in the upright position like this, on your knees, okay, or your legs, your thighs, whatever's comfortablest depending on the length of your arms. Feet firmly on the ground, no socks, etc. And you want to close your eyes. So we're going to do that now. Bring yourself just to center. And you want to take a deep breath in. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Now keep your eyes closed. Keep your palms open and facing up. And then what you want to do is see roots coming out. Now if you're standing, just from your feet. If you're sitting, from your feet and from your root chakra, the base of your spine. So you want to see roots coming out of your feet, out of the base of your spine, the root chakra. Keep breathing. See those roots going through the floor, through anything that may be in the way. Don't worry about how many floors you're on. Just let the roots keep descending down and down until they hit the actual ground. Then see the roots push into the earth and visualize the soil being brown and damp and the roots moving through it freely. New roots all the time coming off of the other roots, spreading down and down. And as those roots are going down into the earth and continuing their journey, feel your feet descending through the floor that you're on, down, until you feel your feet touching the top of the soil. And the soil opens up a little, taking your feet into the soil and covering them in earth. So just your feet are covered. And you can feel the damp soil completely encompassing your feet. Now take some time to concentrate on any scents that you're smelling. Let your senses connect in with the earth that's below the building you're in, the earth that your feet are covered in. Feel the sensation of the earth and the roots going down deeper and deeper into the earth. Heading way down into the center of the earth. And as it's reaching that center point, it starts to come through soil and into the crystalline center of the earth, a beautiful crystal cave filled with points of quartz, a place of connection to Gaia. And as your roots intermingle through the walls of quartz and the dark, damp soil, you feel yourself become one with our earth, with Gaia herself. Now see those roots start to glow a beautiful white. You may see a different colour, go with the colour that you see. You may see green, you may see blue, you may see brown. Whatever colour you're seeing, Let that light come up through the roots, up towards your feet, and then up into your body, filling you with beautiful Gaia energy. Breathe that energy in. Let it fill every fibre of your being. Now scan your body for any areas of pain, any areas of blockages, any stagnant energy, any trauma, any emotions you're holding on to. Scan your body now. You may see them as a different colour light. You may see them as a dark patch. And call in that beautiful energy that's come up through your roots from the earth and let it bathe those areas in its light. Exhaling and breathing in. Feel all the tension being released from your body, being transformed. And allow any remaining remnants to flow back down through your legs, through your feet, through the roots, back down into the earth, where that energy, we ask now that Gaia transmutes and turns into white, usable light, used only for love and light and for the highest good. When you're ready, call your roots back up. Have them come back up through the earth, moving slowly back up and into your feet, back up and into your root chakra. See your feet coming out of the soil, back up and connecting with your body where you sit or stand right now. We thank Gaia for her connection, for her grounding, for her stability and healing here today. We thank you for transmuting that which needs to be transmuted into white, usable light. May we be grounded, balanced, and strong. May we feel your love and connection as we walk our lives with harm to none. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessed be. Now bring your hands and your crystal up to your forehead. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bring your hands and your crystals down to your heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bring your hands and your crystal down to your root chakra. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessed be. Now when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Doesn't that feel absolutely wonderful? Just gorgeous. And that's an exercise, I feel like an exercise that you can do as often as you feel called to, whenever you need to. You can stay in as long as you want and turning into a full-scale journey. I have done many journeys where I will journey into that crystal cave at the center of the earth and do some really deep healing work. We can do that together in the group. If that's something you'd be interested in, let me know. But this is one of my favorite ways to ground, especially when you can't get outside. And I actually find that sometimes this brings a deeper connection, because unless you have a very enclosed garden or somewhere you can go where you know 100% no one's watching you, then that self-consciousness can often make you feel uneasy and not be able to connect in properly. So that is some grounding techniques for you. Obviously, you can now go about carrying your crystals. You want to make sure that you drink plenty of water, as this helps you stay grounded after a grounding experience like that. And really just focus on what works for you. You can change that visualization slightly to how it adapts for you. Go with the experience as you travel into that earth energy, as you connect more deeply with Gaia. You will come up with your own versions of that technique. You may go in deeper sometimes, you may do a shorter version sometimes. When I've really needed to ground in a intense situation where I've been out of the house and I could not sit or stand or do exactly what we just did somewhere, I can literally take myself away for literally just a couple of minutes, keep my eyes open. The more practice you come at this, the more easy you'll find it. And I'll have shoes on and everything. It could be the middle of winter. I could be jacketed up to the hilt, like a little Eskimo. And I can just quickly stand somewhere, even if people are around me, they wouldn't necessarily notice, have my eyes open and send my roots down. Then just take in some deep breaths and exhale, and just quickly ground out anything I need to ground out. So whether that be I've picked up on someone else's emotions, or I've gone into somewhere that's a bit icky. I've had to do that before when I've gone to a really old house and I wasn't, I hadn't been before. I wasn't really aware of where I was going to. And I have an extremely strong connection with animals of all kinds. And I pick up on their energy very easily. I connect in with them very easily. It's one of the reasons I have worked with a lot of animal charities. I donate to a lot of animal charities. I'm very lucky that through what I do here with Goddess Enchantments, I get to make charity donations. And I don't talk about it, online, on YouTube or whatever, because it's not about that. It's not about some show off that, I'm making a donation to charity. I don't use it as a tax deductible. It doesn't come into anything. It's just putting money, into a charity that I believe in and putting that energy back out there so that we're in that abundance loop, which is really important for all of us. And I give to a lot of animal charities. And I was going around this house, and ironically, I don't understand it. I'll never understand it. This event, they had an event there, which is why I was there in the first place, that was for an animal charity. And I'm going around the house because you can go on this tour, and I'm talking away, blah, 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 as I do, chatting on. Come around a corner, walk into a room, and I literally fell backwards. I hadn't even seen the room. I just fell backwards and went, I'm going to throw up. And unfortunately, I was around a lot of people. I tend to have these embarrassing experiences, but you get over it, and in the end, you're just not embarrassed. And as I turned to see what had happened, because I was like, you know, I'm pretty well protected. I don't allow energies just free flow in and out and all over the place, you know. And I turned around and I was in a room of dead, stuffed animals. And there was like, oh God, it was animals from Africa. There was like a giraffe. And it just literally, I turned and I ran. And I just ran like a crazy, crazy ass woman through this old house, running till I got to the door, ran outside and just grounded that the hell out of me, cried to release it all. And then after grounding, I was like, okay, I'm good to go. I'm just going to sit out here until they finish that situation there. Needless to say, I did not work with that animal charity again. They knew it was there. I mean, it's a whole other story. But anyway, that was very affecting. So if you find yourself probably not in something as dramatic as that, but who knows? Maybe you will find yourself in something as dramatic as that, and then it will happen to you. And at the time you'll think, don't worry what all these people think. Claire's gone running out of buildings before, it's all good. So if you do, you do. But you can ground that out. I literally just stood there, had my eyes open, took in a few deep breaths, sent my roots down, asked that all that get transmuted. And it can be done very quickly, because when you're working with Gaia, she is all encompassing. She is ready at any moment. She wants to support us just like she needs our support to look after her. It is an energy exchange, which is why we talk about offerings, which is why we talk about recycling. You know, being on a spiritual path is not just about ritual and just about like the full moon and the new moon and, you know, working with your crystals. It's why I source crystals so unbelievably carefully, that they have not come from areas where mines are funding terrorism, because it happens. That they are not coming from unsafe areas or places where it's being mined by children. I am very, very cautious about that, because there is an energy exchange of us using crystals from our earth. It's all very well going down to the local crystal shop and then buying a big crystal haul for yourself. But if you don't know where it's sourced, you don't know what energy you're getting into. And a lot of people will say to me, oh, you know, I want to ground, I want to work with Gaia. And they love the whole idea of Gaia. But they don't grasp the concept that if you want to ground with Gaia and have a really effective healing experience, if you want to have an altar dedicated to Gaia, you have to look after Gaia. You can't be littering. You can't be not recycling. It's very hard to go 100% plastic free. It is, you know, these days with how it is, places are getting better. We can use our recyclable bags and stuff, but there's some things you just can't avoid. But recycling is one way to show respect. As I've spoke about in my offerings video, being conscious of the offering you're leaving. You think you're doing something nice, but are you? All of this does come under the umbrella of grounding. People are like, how is this related, Claire? I just want to do a grounding. And I'm like, it is related, because it's part of the path. It doesn't matter what you name your path. If you're spiritual, if you're New Age, if you're Christian but you love crystals, if you're Wiccan, if you're pagan, if you're Jewish. And I have, you know, a wonderful Jewish friend who's very much into crystals and very much Jewish, and some people don't like that. It doesn't matter. Gaia does not distinguish. She does not care what your actual religious status is, which you shouldn't have to go around telling everyone that anyway, unless you're comfortable. She just cares about actions. Actions are what she cares about. And for you to have a really good experience grounding, you do need to work with her. And that means looking after her. You can't expect to go in and ground and ask her to transmute and then you be throwing some plastic bottle out of your window while you're going down the motorway. Not that I feel anyone in this group would do that, by the way. That's just an extreme example of something I saw the other day. We have a great group of people here in this group, and I read all your messages, I respond to all your messages, so I know a lot of the work that you're doing. You're healing and working through things and respecting and learning all the time. I am learning all the time. We're all learning. But that's why I really wanted to do this video for just the group, because by doing it this way, we can go into these kind of extra, more deeper topics that people on YouTube, you know, a lot of people are searching and they just want, you know, some basic instructions for grounding or a little bit of like fluff for something or other. Whereas in here, we can go that little bit deeper and we can do the deeper work and we can explore some of these topics together and get into them together. And it's something that I absolutely love, and I hope you love too, the little community we have here. I really feel, you know, in the 11 years that I've had Goddess Enchantments, I have never loved it more than I do now. And that's because when I did take a couple of months off from Goddess Enchantments, as those of you that have been with me for years know, and I didn't know if I was going to reopen. I just knew I had to take a little bit of time off, and I was doing another business that I had started up, was really passionate about, and completely non-related to this one, and it felt wrong. It did not feel right those like couple of months that I had off, but I needed that to really do some of my own work and to channel and to figure out what I wanted to do with Goddess Enchantments and how I wanted to move us forward and how I could help better teach and reach more people, and how I could build a community around it, which was something I had always wanted, but I don't think, you know, necessarily the internet was quite ready for yet. It's only been in the last sort of year or two that things like Facebook groups and stuff like that has really exploded. So now we've got this platform to kind of come together. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. A couple of updates for you. I will be getting what's left of the crystal treasures on the website, so you can browse them there. I am doing something special, group only, so please do not share this video or the link or anything in it outside of the group. This is just for you guys. It's how we keep this container nice and tight. I am making 2 oils on the full moon this week, and I've been very specifically told that these oils were needed. It came at the same time as this video being needed and getting that push, because I've been saying I was going to do it, and David actually put a post up about it in the group and gave me that kick in the butt, and then I was like, okay, I need to do a journey, and then it come up in there. So I am making a very small batch of grounding oil. That's my recipe, and I won't ever be selling this. I am going to make a grounding oil for the shop, but this recipe is mine. I channeled it during a very special journey. I have worked with it ritually. I very rarely make it. I keep a small vial for myself, and that's gone. I make another one. It will have herbs in it as well as essential oils, unlike my standard oils, as you know, on the site. So there will be the grounding oil, and I'm also making a source oil, because this is something that's really energetically come about at the moment. People from all paths are coming together and being much more open to crystals and holistic healing, and there's a lot less of one religion here and one religion there, or one belief system here, and there's this coming together which is very much in the field right now. And it doesn't matter how you connect with source energy, if you feel that's a male energy, if you feel that's a female energy, if you feel that's just an energy, Some people feel it is literally the solar system. It doesn't matter how you see that energy, but we are being called to connect in a lot deeper with that energy for our own healing and for our planet's healing. So this source oil is for everyone, regardless. You don't have to see source as goddess. And it is for you to work with in all your anointing, for absolutely everything, your ritual, your journey work, your daily life anointing, your jewelry. This is a really beautiful recipe that I've been given that will be done on the full moon along with the grounding oil. They're going to be charged with sound, the copper pyramid. They're going to be outdoors for the full moon. That's very specific instruction that's come through. There'll be no windowsill charging. They're going to actually be under it, in glass bowls, crystals all around. I'll try and take some photos if I feel that it doesn't mess with the energy too much. Both of those oils are available in the what is that section? Hang on, good job, I have a computer next to me, isn't it? You know, the custom order payment section where you all pay for your crystals from the Crystal Treasures. There's a listing in there just for the group, and it has a picture of the full moon. You can use the drop down menu, and you can buy like put one of each in your cart, one of whatever one calls to you. Completely up to you. Obviously you don't have to have them, but I will be making some, a new batch for me. The source one is new to me, the other one is my own personal recipe. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to order over the next like day or so that I know how much I'm making. Other than that, Samhain's on the way. If you have set up your Samhain ritual area or altar area, please share your photos. I love seeing everyone's photos. I am about to do our fireplace, which is where we have our main altar and ancestors area for Samhain, because it's in the heart of our home. So I will get some pictures of that for you as well. So do share in the group and let's all see each other's spaces. That is it from me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Blessed be.